The story of the brand is quintessentially the story of this fountain of youth quest, which is as old as humanity, the search for beauty, the search for youth. And I think that what's really beautiful about the story of SK2 is that it tells you it can be found in the most unexpected, humble place and still be so hard-hitting and so powerful.
I think the myth of eternal youth, or the search for eternal youth, is profound in every culture in the world. And I think the idea of this little girl going off to find this magical place and instead discovering a different secret was something that I liked, because it allowed that fantastical notion to exist in the story, and I liked going on that journey with the innocence of the child's eyes.
It's the kind of story that probably fits him very well, which is something timeless and huge and big and epic to some extent. Distilled into humanity, distilled into emotion, and distilled into a true heart.
It's great working with Tom. He's a fantastic visionary. He has a brilliant eye for detail and fantastic retention of detail.
We did an extensive search. A wonderful producer called Molly Pope, who really did an exhaustive search in Japan.
We had multiple location scouts going all over Japan.
And we ended up coming up to Yamagata province, which is to the north of Tokyo, about 2.5 hours on the bullet train, where we found some stunning temples set up the sides of mountains with extraordinary staircases leading up to them, which have provided the basis for our journey and our village, and very magical places to visit. I was very struck by them on the recce.
We were very lucky to find the Kojima Brewery Museum, which is in Yonezawa, which was very, very beautiful and full of the original sort of 19th century tools and barrels, etc. And we dressed that, and that was a wonderful experience there.
From the beginning, I wanted to use Japanese cast, so we did auditions here and found an extraordinary 6-year-old girl called Miyu. We were shooting the grandmother scene, and I would give her a number of notes and over a 2-minute scene, and she'd nail every single one. So she's truly exceptional, and I hope she has a great future. I wanted a child who would remain childlike and have the freedom to move as a child and speak as a child and have that innocence. And in Miyu, I have that. I mean, even when you just ask her to run somewhere, she runs with this sort of amazing style that only a 6-year-old would run in, and they're so close to their imaginative life. The Japanese film crews are excellent. I mean, they have an amazing film culture. I as a little boy, was a huge Kurosawa fan, and it's been a particular thrill to see Kurosawa printed on apple boxes and the sides of trucks, and to see that the legend of Kurosawa still lives on. But Danny's got a wonderful eye and a wonderful temperament, and one of the best DOPs in the world. So it was great to continue our collaboration, and we were talking about how interesting it was to shoot in Japan for the first time and to learn a different aesthetic in terms of the way we frame shots. So that's been a great journey.
Interesting, even though it's a short form, it's still the same sort of parameters as when you work on a film, because you definitely get to use bits of equipment that you don't necessarily come across when you're working on films. A case in point, we've used a thing called an octocopter, which is a kind of small remote-controlled helicopter with 8 propellers.
And that's allowed me to accomplish moves that I literally have never been able to do before in my life. And so to try out that technology for the first time on this commercial has been very exciting.
Okay, Johnny, ready? Action!
Today we've had snow, rain, winds that are too strong to fly the little mini helicopter. I'm incredibly pleased that Michael Danner's on board to compose. I thought he did an extraordinary job with Life of Pi, for which he's just won the Oscar, so fresh from that.
Was very excited to get the opportunity to work with one of the world's best directors, one of the great storytellers.
Michael's very deft at making music reflect the edit. He has an amazing ability to shape the music to the picture.
One of the greatest rooms, if not the greatest room in the world to record music in.
Abbey Road's particularly important to me because it's where I recorded the music for the King's Speech. And it's a legendary recording studio where the Beatles worked, and it's a wonderful moment when you see all these highly gifted musicians come together to create the music for the finished film.
I think what we wanted to capture was the sense of play, the playfulness of this little girl, the sense of youth and exploration, the idea of this world kind of opening up to her and also to us, things that we've never seen before either. So that sense of freshness and energy, fun, and yeah, and also a sense of mystery and you know, kind of this beautiful discovery.
I think once you frame a story as a child's fairy story or a myth told for a child, it gives you tremendous freedom. And what I like about the story is that the grandmother is asked about her hands and why they're different, and she has an opportunity to initiate the girl into the realities of aging and mortality, and she chooses not to do that directly or to sort of spoil her the illusions and innocence of youth, but to tell her a story through which she can learn that truth.